Today we're going to be talking about fuzz, about volume, about wet dry, and a little bit on filters.
But it's not just us.
They're here.
Yay!
Mixed Magic Board. Hey everyone, welcome to That Pedal Show. Dan here.
Mick here, hello, and a very special welcome to our guests today who have joined us as Toneken winners, Golden Toneken. Say hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Nathan. I'm from North Hampshire, and I am a avid That Pedal Show viewer, but quite a new one. I only started watching about December this year.
So my name's Don, I live in Newbury, and I've been watching That Pedal Show since the year dot, since it started pretty much.
I'm Christian, I'm from Bristol, and I've been watching Pedal Show from the very beginning.
Format of today's show is we had 3 winners, and they've suggested some topics that they'd like us to go through today. They've chosen the pedal board, they've chosen the amps,
They have.
and yeah, we've got some stuff to get going with. First off, let's talk about volume.
Yeah. So this is a huge thing. It changes the way that you feel about playing so dramatically, depending on how much volume you have in the room.
Don wanted to get into this a bit today. I'd spoken about maybe some lower volume playing, getting into taking that crazy volume that Dan and I often play at down a little bit to make it more, easier to deal with in a band situation these days, but also easier on our ears, right? Because we do get a little punchy in the ear every now and again. So what we thought we'd do is and also hollow guitars, which I've totally forgotten about. So we're going to do a very quick thing. We're going to run through a kind of average level of 80 dB. We're going to go to 90 dB, and we're going to go to 100 dB. And we're going to see what that does in terms of the way the guitar reacts, the way we feel, and how it's all going.
Very nice. So shall we start out with a sound at this level that we like and then adjust accordingly back at the amps?
Let's start quiet.
Okay, all right, fine.
Let's start quiet.
This will be interesting.
We're going to use the Alexander, I think, might be the best way to do this.
Perfect.
So we're not going to touch the amps. We're just going to regulate the volume from the pedal. Now, of course, the relative gain level of the amps comes into all of that, but let's adjust it from the pedal just to see where we are.
I wonder what the settings are.
So, Dan, if you if you get going, we'll get you down. We'll get you up to an average of about 80 dB.
Okay. You serious?
That's basically not going to be touching our mic pre's because they're set quite low, but I can bring it up in post, so that's fine. So
is that 80?
Well, measured in here on our dB meter, that's about relatively 80. Keep going.
All right.
We'll make it nicer for Dan by adding a bit of delay so it sponges it out a bit. 90.
That was 90. The difference is it's a whole other world.
Bear in mind that this is relative, right? This is where our dB meter is placed. Might be different for you at home when you've got the thing right in front, which is going to read louder. Back there, it should be reading slightly less. And there's not a huge amount of bass in the sound, which tends to pump it up a bit and sound louder. But there are stages that are limited to less than that.
Yeah. That's wild.
Which is kind of wild, isn't it?
Because you have to consider, you've got to have drums and bass and everything to get to that level.
Yeah, well, one snare drum hit in here is going to hit 108, no worries.
That's
Keep
wild.
going then, we'll get up to 100 or thereabouts.
I can feel that now.
Yeah.
Again, it's the fun value is exponential.
We'll ask our assembled guests what they thought afterwards. I'm going to guess they found the top end of it quite hard work. Super shrill, yeah, because that's partly from where you're sat. And the punch, anyone feeling the punch? Could you feel it more there than you could at the lower? Okay.
Did the top end change at different volumes?
Yeah.
Got worse, right?
Yeah.
Louder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Dan's face lit up.
Yeah. Assuming that this guitar is working correctly, Don was interested in, okay, hollow guitars then. So if we've got to play at a lower volume, can a hollow guitar give us a little bit more of that excitement back because the guitar's reacting more to
great
what
question.
to what we're hearing? I've certainly found this. If I've ever got to do like a cafe gig or there's no drummer, just with maybe like keys and a singer, then I find like a hollow guitar or a semi-hollow guitar definitely starts getting more vibration going through the guitar and all that stuff that we really like about playing electric guitar. So let's see, we'll get back down to where we were. The other thing I want to demonstrate is as we get louder, is Dan showed you what happened when you attack the guitar and you've got the full punch. What I want to try and demonstrate is with that extra volume, you've got a lot more subtlety, pick attack, all those things that we like about all of our favorite players available from your hands. So you're not necessarily using the volume to just be peak dB, you're using it as a dynamic resource. Let's see if I can do that with this guitar, and I really hope it works.
Okay.
So kind of all over there in the playing a bit. Might cut around that. That's what happens when you pick up a guitar you haven't played in 2 years. Hopefully, what you were getting with the transient in the really loud sound with the full pick attack is that kind of whoa. But actually, if you've got that much volume going on hollow guitar, you heard the feedback because it's a hollow body guitar at that volume. The guitar speaker, it wasn't a massively overdriven sound. I mean, there was a little bit of overdrive, but it wasn't crazy. It's just going into natural feedback, which we can simply control off the volume pot. And if you're in a situation of, if your band environment enables you to play with some space, if there's space in the music, you can really explore that. Maybe not so good in a Green Day covers band, but that's a different game.
Yeah. And you hear the difference between the two different guitars is stark. One of the thing about playing at volume is that's where you hear stuff. And I'd be really interested to hear the audio back at the really quiet level where the detail between them won't be that dramatic. It's actually when we can utilize all that power, that all the differences in the frequencies and the dynamics, that's when that stands out.
Big time. And obviously, once it's recorded, you can bring that volume up. So actually the sound in your ears ends up being pretty decent. But as you discovered watching me really fumble around trying to play, I can't play at that. I really struggle to play at that volume, especially on a guitar that is alien at this point because I'm just not playing it every day. Get up to 100 or loud, which we're used to. I think we're both a bit more comfortable. And it's not about better or worse. It's just about what you're familiar with. And all of a sudden, another 2 minutes later, you're kind of across what the guitar's doing and you can lean into it a bit more. So I guess my case for loud is the dynamic that it allows in your playing, which, as we know, if you've played on like a function band kind of stage where you're limited to 80 or 85 or something, you end up just smacking the crap out of the guitar all the time because you can't be heard. And at no point do you ever get the chance to go...
And just let the amplifier do the work, because at that really quiet, you're the whole time you're trying to get something that just isn't there.
Who do we know that look down and they're just bleeding all over the guitar because they're trying to hit the guitar too hard?
Yeah.
You know? So there you go. A little bit on volume. Does that partially answer our questions? What do you think about the hollow guitar, Don?
Yeah, I love it.
It's a different thing. It's a different thing.
Yeah.
A step, obviously something like a 335 is somewhere in the middle and you get half of that. But with the fully hollow guitar, clearly then if you step on loads of overdrive and you are in your Green Day covers band,
it's just going to be
unless you're
tricky.
Chris Cheney or Ted Nugent, and then you can make it work.
Yeah.
Cool. Nice.
Fabulous.
Let's move on to wet dry, Dan.
Let's do that.
One of our favourite topics. Don was also interested in this, but fair to say everyone is fairly interested in this, right?
Yeah, something that we've been banging on about for more than 10 years now.
Yeah. Why do we like it so much?
Well, it gives you an opportunity to create a soundscape with mono pedals. So it's different than stereo. We're not relying on ping pong delays or stereo reverbs. We're taking mono modulation and mono delays and we're separating them. We're putting overdrives into both amplifiers. Somewhere at the point of the chain, after the overdrives, we're splitting it. And then we're going, at that split point, that'll go to what we call our dry amplifier that's receiving all the gain pedals. But then the wet effects still receive the gain pedals and we're coming out of the wet effects into the wet amplifier. So all the gain is there, which is what we call our dry, and then the wet only goes to one side.
So we're interested today, after a basic demonstration of wet dry, and the best one of all is chorus, which we'll do, or harmonic tremolo, but we'll do them both, is then, well, how wet and how dry? Like, should it be completely dry and totally wet? How saturated can you get those wet effects if you're splitting it? And hopefully we can demonstrate all of that. Is it possible to do the classic, Dan?
Yeah, for sure. So we'll use the Red Wing for this. What I'm going to do, I'm going to set the Red Wing up so it's a vibrato. I do that, I'm going to turn the manual time up so it takes it from a flanger to a chorus. And then, let me just turn everything off here. Let's get this going into both amplifiers so that you can hear it as it is. So that's just like a standard vibrato modulation.
Can we hear that a bit louder, mate?
Yep. Yeah, that is basically what we see on the wet side of a chorus pedal. But what we're going to do now, I'm going to take that sound and I'm going to split it so that the vibrato section is only going to go to one amplifier. But in this case, I think we're going to the
AC15.
The AC15.
Yeah, because the next question is, what amp should I use wet and what amp should I use dry? It doesn't really matter. Maybe we'll swap them over, but
you get
do
the idea.
anything to begin with. And just to help you visualize this even more, imagine a Roland JC120. What you just heard will be coming out of one speaker.
That's right.
What we're about to do is turn the other speaker on without that effect.
So I'll play, and the vibrato will be going through both amplifiers. Then I'm going to hit a button that's going to split the signal. Vibrato will be going through one amplifier, and the dry signal will be going through the other. Okay? Oh man, I just love it. Every time it still gets me. It's so good.
And it's not so you hear it in real life that you're like, oh, that's what chorus actually is. And that's what it is. So that's the most common example. Equally with harmonic tremolo. Harmonic tremolo is slightly different. What it gives you with harmonic tremolo, like you can't do chorus unless you do wet dry. With vibrato, of course, because actual chorus, you'll notice it on some chorus pedals, it's got a switch that says C or V. Vibrato, wet sound only. Chorus, wet and dry sound. Harmonic tremolo, well, you'll see. You'll see. Put some overdrive on. Come on, let's have some overdrive. Forget how good the Alexander sounds. So that, hopefully what you heard there is, if you want like really overt everything kind of going, whoa, 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 have it going into both amps. If you want to retain the kind of bite and interest and pick attack and all of that, stick it into one amp where you get the effect. And that sort of leads on to the next question, which is how wet can we run it then? One of the ways I love doing this is to get like an insane reverb going in one amp.
Yep.
Right. And you'll think, what? And then we'll turn on the other amp.
Okay.
So we'll do this. We got this slightly odd setup today where I've got some extra pedals going into the Marshall. We'll use the CXM.
Sure. Beautiful.
Happy with that?
Yep.
And I'll get like, I call it an idiot's reverb, but it's not an idiot's reverb. It's just reverb. I'm going to turn this amp off, and you'll just hear the Marshall on its own.
It's such a great clean sound.
But dry as an unwine.
But dry, but great, but dry.
So let's add a lot of huge modulated hall reverb.
It's wonderful. It's a lot.
Spectacular reverb, but as Dan plays, I'll just turn on the AC15 and hear what happens. Now, it might be, because the AC15 is not as powerful as the Marshall, might not come through as much, but let's see. Just make that a slightly smaller reverb. So this is like still a plate, still quite big, but not as crazy as that.
Okay, okay.
So the AC15 comes on, it punches through a little bit more, even though it's only 15 watts, it is doing that punching job okay. Like if we put up a similar amp to the Marshall in terms of dynamics and transients and all of that, you would hear that even more strongly, where the note, the front of the note, the transient, the sharp bit at the front is coming through, you're hearing it, it's really aiding audibility. And at that point, you can kind of go crazy with your wet. To wit.
To woo.
Let's do it the other way then.
Okay.
So what we can do is make the Vox crazy wet using the collider and bring the Marshall in for punch.
Yeah, okay. And this would be really
more dynamic.
Yeah, more dynamic. This would be really interesting. So let's bring up a sound on the collider. So Michael, if you want to have it this. Let's
What idiot would ever use that much reverb?
It sounds amazing.
What did they hear?
I really love the dry sound coming through the Marshall.
Yeah.
Because, well, it's that thing of having two amplifiers that have got a bit of headroom, but hearing the dynamic, that dynamic of you playing through the Marshall. So actually, the AC15, even though it's limiting more, so it's acting like a big compressor, and all that reverb and all that wash, but when you hear the dry sound going through the Marshall, you hear all of Mick's dynamic in his note. I think that's magic.
There's a lovely sound. I mean, the common wisdom, and we've said it enough times, is, use your higher headroom amp for the wet, because then they don't get overdriven and it all sounds nice and clean and all of that. Actually, if you think about the way that it's done in a studio, you'd have your main amp mic'd, and then you'd have buses going off to outboard gear. That's kind of like what the AC15 is doing in this, because you wouldn't mix that in at 100%. You'd mix it in way lower and make it really wet.
Yeah.
so that then it sort of, you get all the punch of the front, exactly as Dan said, but you maintain the lovely wet nature. Now, is that usable live? Yeah, absolutely it is, as long as you've got a willing sound engineer.
Yeah, but all the sound engineer's really got to do is control the volume. And the beautiful thing about a wet-dry situation like this, he doesn't have to pan anything, right? He can keep everything straight down the middle. And that way, we're not relying on, ping-pong delays and big epic sounding spaces. He can keep everything straight down the middle, and what he will get is that retained attack and that dynamic, but with the wet mixed on top. Exactly the same as you would do in a studio when you're mixing a mono guitar signal with wet effects on top.
I actually think that's a really nice way to think about it, because if you're new to wet-dry, it's hard to get past stereo, right? Stereo is panned hard left and right, so two separate things. Wet-dry is one thing summed together, and thinking about it in that kind of post-production studio world, as Dan has just described, core sound with effects on top is a nice way to think about it.
Yeah.
You guys got any questions about wet-dry before we move on? Yeah.
I think it's interesting when we talk about wet dry, because especially in the studio context, because in the studio context, normally it's 100% wet.
Yeah.
And so you are bussing it, and it's a 30% or something,
Yeah.
and it's whereas TPS wet dry, we call it that,
Yeah.
is different, and it is, like I just described it, it's two mono, and it's the sum of both, and actually you've got the dry going through with the wet. It's not just fully wet. You can do fully wet, but it's not, is it? And I think that's what gives it that distinctive sound.
I think so. And if we go back, Rob and Ford and Larry Carlton both had significant periods where they would mic their amp, stick it through a little desk and put it through some full range flat response PA type speakers and put their wet effects in there. So it was exactly as you're describing. Oh no, that would have been dry as well, because there would have been dry sound in that as well, because it's mic'd.
So it's mic'd, but the mic'd sound is feeding the wet effects, and the wet effects are being mixed in parallel on buses, and then would they have killed the dry sound? They would have killed the dry sound.
Okay, so that's exactly as you're describing.
Yeah.
I think Dan and I have just found this happy place where the coupling of the two amps, and it's not just me and Dan, loads of people have done it down the years, the coupling of the two amps together. And the real benefit of this is you can use two small amps.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, that extra harmonics, the extra everything else you get from the loveliness of using two amps together. Oh, look, and now we can stick our effects down either side.
And we'll just take that one step further by going one step back. One of the wonderful things about doing a wet-dry setup like this is at low volume. Because what you get is the sense of space. There's no accounting for the lack of sound pressure. That's physics. But one thing a big, loud guitar gives you is this sense of space because it fills the room. Well, what if we go wet, dry, quiet to get a sense of space? And so what I'll do, I'll get Mick to play what he was playing. I'm going to turn the volume on the Alexander down, get him set up with some delay and reverb in one amp and dry in the other.
Just because I haven't used enough guitars already, Dan, I might introduce some air back into the game.
Okay,
with
nice.
335. So it's half amount of air now, right? I've been really loving this guitar recently.
It's so good.
Goodbye, ladies.
Goodbye, ladies.
And miraculously, it seems to be nearly in tune.
So I'm going to turn the Alexander on, and I'm going to start it with the volume off, and I'm just going to bring it up so it's quiet. And then I'm going to go wet dry and see if that sense of space at a low volume kind of gives us a better feel for the note. Let's be interested to see what you think of this. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, let's get from here. So let's go Alexander. bigger. It feels bigger.
That's really interesting. What I noticed was it sounded all big and wet, which is great. It sounds massive, like if you're in your Wazza headphones at home, jamming along to Rosanna or whatever it is. Awesome. But actually, the clarity in the note attack was significantly more.
When it went,
yeah. Just let me. I'll just put some more note attack in and see if we can discern that. Now, what I'm finding at that, I don't know, did anyone notice what we were hitting on was it about 80? Yeah. So what I'm noticing on there, I'm doing that thing that we were talking about earlier to bring us back to the volume. Mm-hmm. I'm like really trying to hit the guitar because it's not loud enough. Bring me up to 90, Dan.
Okay.
Again, exploring that. As soon as I'm not doing this, I can do this.
Yeah. So there is no substitute for the actual physical effect of volume. It just isn't. It's the reason that all of our guitar heroes that we love, they all played loud. They just did, you know. And it gives you a level of excitement that's, you know, playing guitar is such a physical thing. And so that's why we love the volume. However, it's not the reality for most of us. We can't always sit at, you know, Mick and I are very lucky that we get to do this. But is there ways around it? Yeah. So not completely, but you can get a sense of dynamics and stuff. You know, I for me, the wet dry thing at low volume is, of course, that's not the same sound pressure level, but it is a step towards getting a sense of space, you know, without. And the difference thing with the stereo, because you've got wet signal in both sides. So if you're into 1 amp with a mono delay onto 2 amps of stereo delay, the dynamic is the same. Delay in one amplifier and dry in the other, you have the dynamic in the dry amplifier. And you hear the difference. The dynamic in that Marshall is just crazy. And it's really beautiful, even at lower levels.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It doesn't really do lower levels, to be honest, which is why we're turning it down on the pedal. It's just like, oh. All right, we got 3 more things to cover, Dan.
Right.
Because as you know, we yak. We need to look at filters a little bit.
Okay.
Nath wanted to explore some filtery sounds, and Nath, maybe you can point us on that, whether we're looking at full-on synthy sounds or like envelope filter type things.
I think I was really looking for a sort of slow LFO sweep like arpeggiated chords and almost like a synth-like kind of a thing.
Okay.
I see some manual diving here.
Right.
Okay.
So the idea with that is it's basically a wah pedal with an LFO doing the sweep as it was, right? Yeah. So as opposed to, if we think of an auto wah, that is an envelope follower that's basically doing the treadle. What we're after now is an LFO that takes control of the backwards and forwards of the wah pedal. So
do we think it does it? Okay, so
I'm sure it does
filters is one. Dual reverbs is another thing. So we might explore these things concurrently, and then maybe we'll finish off with fuzz.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, Michael, if I can just get you to play, I'm going to see if I can get
Me
this
again?
thing going. Go on, then.
I'd better have another guitar then. I mean, what's the point of having all these guitars if you don't play them? Misses.
All right.
And indeed, hello, ladies.
Hello, ladies. Right.
What do you think about single coils and humbuckers and filters?
It depends on the job. So the most common filter that we all know and love is a wah pedal, right? Filters the input signal. It puts a like a big punch at a certain frequency and then sweeps that up and down the spectrum, right? If we use that at the front of the signal chain, humbuckers and single coils both sound fabulous with it. But if we have the filter further down the signal chain so that it's filtering the entire frequency that we are creating, then it becomes a different thing. It's the closest I can compare it to is like that DJ drop thing where it goes and it starts to bring it up into frequency and then it goes back to full range. It's very different if you take that filter sweep and put it at the front of the signal chain.
Yeah, right.
Right?
And we would normally put our filters at the front.
I like it at the front.
Yeah.
But it depends on what you're after. So let me see if I can get this
I went to a
spectrum.
nightclub once.
Did you? By mistake.
The reason I asked the question is I've always preferred single coils with filters. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because I play Strats a lot.
Right.
All right.
So here we go.
God.
Let's try this.
So this Spectrum by Source Audio has a whole bunch of different classic filters in it. So it's got auto wahs right through to synths. It can go up or down in terms of the envelope. Mm-hmm. And it does lots and lots of classic envelope-y, synthy sounds. Please check it out at the Source Audio website. We are likely going to dance around the edge of it.
Yeah.
In what is to follow.
Right, let's see.
What are you trying to do?
I'm gonna need the manual.
What do you need to do?
Just turn the LFO on and stop it reacting to the input, and just have it so that it's just the LFO doing the sweeping.
And it'll do even more than that.
All right, we sort of got there.
Well, we got there in a TPS
Yeah,
style.
very much so.
We gave a fully TPS worthy whack through the spectrum. Yeah, a lot of hidden features, a lot of secondary functions, great deal of usability within it.
Yeah.
It really is best with the Neuro app, which you get from Source Audio.
Yeah, very powerful thing.
You know, half a cup of intelligence wouldn't go amiss either. Okay, to finish off, we're going to talk about Fuzz. It is a common theme. Certainly people who come to experience days, and at least 2 of you today have said, maybe all 3 of you, Fuzz, don't get it. What's it for? Doesn't make any sense. I think one of the reasons Fuzz often doesn't make any sense is because we have to play at low volume.
Yeah.
So everything we just discovered about the dynamic range of your tone being limited by low volume because you're having to do this all the time, and everything coming out sort of similar, when you add fuzz to that, it just gets worse. Because what does fuzz do, right? It takes a lovely signal, it square waves it off in the most disgusting manner. It makes it compressed and tiny and fizzy sounding. So it kind of doesn't make any sense at low volume unless it's sort of buried over in the right speaker in a mix somewhere, and you'll hear that a lot. And we got 2 very similar fuzzes. And there's obviously something we like to demonstrate with the fuzz face in terms of the cleanup off the volume control. So we'll do that. And then we also wanted to talk about dual reverbs. So parallel reverbs you were interested in, Nath. Was there a specific paralleling of reverb types that you were interested in?
I think it's just massive and small.
Okay, so if we went like for a nice little room on one side and a massive on the other.
So a small room and a big hall.
Yeah, so as it happens, one of my favourite presets for the CXM is a smallish room. And if you just have a listen to this for a sec. So here it is with no reverb, and I don't think there's any. Nuns wine glass territory again. I have preset 1 set as this smallish room with a little bit of reflection on it. And that to me reminds me of those sounds you'd get in big studios when they were just working out that if they cranked the amps, they had to put the microphones a long way away because the preamps couldn't deal with it. So you hear more of the room than you do the thing. Again, just off and on. Wrong button. Back to filter territory. So I'll turn it off just for a second, and Dan will set something up massive in the other amp.
So if we just turn the delay off for Uno Momento, and I'll just go to the, we'll just turn on the Vox.
So a lot of the stuff we were talking about before with wet dry, the Vox, because it's soaked in all that reverb, is kind of, if you were trying to poke out in a mix, you really struggle with that because it's just not really happening. The Marshall gives it the punch back, maybe just a little loud compared to the Vox, but we might just ease that down in a sec. That's the first face on and cranked.
There's so much gain there. But so that is this classic sound of a fuzz face. And that works at volume. But one thing that you can do if you're finding it hard to connect with a fuzz, the reason that that sounds so awesome is because the fuzz is actually working with the amplifier. It's working with the amplifier that's got its limitations. At low volume, the amplifier basically doesn't have any limitations. It's like, you give me all those harsh edges, all that bottom end, and I'll just throw it all together in one big fuzzy soup. But what we can do is use an overdrive pedal to act as our valve limiter. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn on the Alexander, and I'm just going to get it a little bit crunchy, not wildly overdriven. And then I'm going to punch the fuzz. I'll get Mick to play, and I'm going to punch the fuzz into the Alexander.
Have a play.
I'll have a play then. All right, so.
Seems to, it's too much fun, man. It's too much fun. So
Okay.
what do you want? You want just a slightly crunchy sound on this?
Slightly crunchy sound on that, and then let's kick the sun face in. That's great. Let's make it a little bit quieter. Oh, so good. This is just to show you that there's a way to do this without having to have the volume. It's not as fun.
It's going to be quite loud.
It won't have that massive impact of the volume, but the Alexander is going to do that job of limiting the fuzz for us.
I'm just going to ask you one final question.
Yes, mate.
Do you prefer this sound or this sound? Great example of gain staging, right? Yeah, a great example of gain staging. What? Where, exactly as Dan explained, the fuzz, in that case, we used the analog man. When I was playing, you heard the blue fuzz face. When Dan was playing, you heard the sun face. Very, very similar fuzz face style. And the great thing about a fuzz face style is it will do that cleanup thing. We were just talking about Eric Johnson earlier, because we both went to see Eric Johnson on Friday, and those glassy cleans that you hear from Eric just might sometimes be with that fuzz face on. I mean, I think he goes a different route, but it could be. It could be. And certainly with Jimi, you heard it. You heard the glassy cleans. Anyway, if the fuzz is just too brutal, hitting the front of a clean amp, an overdrive pedal after it, just as Dan demonstrated there with the Alexander, which is a tube overdrive, but you can use any overdrive, actually gets that squash really nice, starts to sound really kind of saturated and angry and lovely. And then it's all off the volume control. As you heard, it went from pretty nice clean to crazy fuzz. Crazy fuzz. That's our case for fuzzes.
Case for us.
Yeah, well, and then, I don't know, first song, Simply the Best. I'm going to use my fuzz in this solo, and the singer looks around and is like, yeah, you're fired, mate. So not all the time. I think, Daniel,
I think we're there.
We've been rolling a lot. I think we've chosen most things. We're going to get some reaction from you guys after, just to see if there's any revelations or anything that you thought, that was awful. Any final questions before we wrap?
No, I think we're good.
Please let us out. Just let us out. Good. All right. Thanks so much for watching.
Yes, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Also, a massive thank you to our patrons on Patreon.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Also, check out our exclusive preferred retailers in the UK and Europe. That's Anderton's, and in Australia, upside down, that would be Pedal Empire.
Empire of Pedal.
Yeah.
Yes.
And please go to that Pedal Show store and buy stuff. It's how we keep this show on the air. Massive thanks to our studio audience today. It's a test of endurance, if nothing else. And congratulations on winning the Golden Toneken and participating in that.
Thank you guys so
We're
much.
massively grateful. All right. We'll see you next time on that Pedal Show.
Bye.
Nath, did you have a good time today?
I had a fantastic time, thanks, Mick. It was absolutely brilliant. I was very excited to come this morning, as my family would tell you, and it totally lived up to expectations. So, yeah, fantastic.
Absolutely. It was such an experience being in the room with the sound. It makes such a difference hearing the width of sound, not necessarily the volume, which is what part of the show was about. And just having that kind of thickness of sound was incredible.
How would you describe the differences between watching at home on YouTube and being in the room?
Oh, it's like night and day. You can hear come to life all the things that you talk about, wet, dry, and so on. I thought, yeah, I understand that intellectually, but I don't really understand what they're talking about. So one of the things you did then that you repeated today that really brought that to life was when you had the vibrato. That was just a sort of real light bulb moment, even though I know that's how chorus works. Just experiencing that for real is just something else.
Did it sound better in the room or on YouTube?
I think it's different. I think it's just different. I think they're hard to compare. In the room, it's like being at a gig, right? You get the full hit. I think on YouTube, you get the benefit of production and things are level and it's different, and you can turn the volume up and down at home, right? So for me, it's putting a record on and seeing a gig live.
Oh, that's fantastic. Love it.
I mean, I listen on good speakers at home, but just really, especially the fuzz at the end, hearing that you clear up on the Strat was just superb. You can hear it on YouTube, but actually hearing the whole room shake and then contract was incredible. So that was the biggest difference for me.
Any revelations or surprises today?
I think without sounding too fanboy, I think the how quickly you guys filmed was amazing. Like, it's literally switch a light on and you just off you went, and it was over and done very quick. I thought there'd be a lot more takes, a lot more editing, a lot more piecing together, and there wasn't. So I think that's probably the biggest surprise. And this space is bigger than I thought it would be. I am in my head. I imagined it was all for TV and it would actually be super cramped, but actually you've got quite a lot of room.
Is there anything you'll take away from today in terms of something to try in your own gear and playing?
Yeah, I think, one of the things I was interested in was hollow bodies and sort of what you can get out of them, especially when you're limited by volume. So I've got one hollow body guitar, which gets quite a lot of attention, but maybe exploring a bit more of that.
Yes, wet dry. I need to try it instantly. It's amazing.
I am very interested in the spectrum and in filters and filter sweeps. We didn't quite get to do that today, but actually the filter sounds that you created were amazing. So to know that is in that pedal, and also it can do a slow LFO sweep, which is what I was interested in, I think definitely I am going to be looking at the spectrum post today.
And anything else you want to add? Or any other observations? Literally anything else?
I don't think so. I think you guys need to keep on going, keep doing it. It's an amazing show, and I've learnt a lot over the last 10 years, so looking forward to learning more.
Bless you, mate. That's very kind. Thank
Very
you.
welcome.
Just that you guys are just like you seem on YouTube. You're both fantastic individuals. It's not for show. You are genuine. This place is amazing, and I had the best day ever. I wish everyone could experience it. It's brilliant.
Bless you, mate. Checks in the post.
It's good to be back. It's lovely to see you again. Keep up the good work. Yes.
Thank you, Don.
Welcome to that pedal show. Dan here.
Luke here.
Sam here. Christian here.
Nathan here.
Don here.
Lynn here.
Mick here. Hello!
Very good.